Tech Talk with Matthew Dickerson. Matthew Dickerson. Tech Talk. Sit back and relax. It's time to talk technology.
It is Tech Talk time. Matt Dickerson, good morning.
Good morning. How are you going today?
I'm doing very nicely. Tell me about the carbon composites charge ahead for the EV range revolution.
Revolution, that's the one. It's an interesting concept. We talk about electric vehicles, we talk about the car itself, and then we talk about the battery. And the battery is typically on the base of the car to keep the centre of gravity low, but it adds weight to the overall car. But what about if the car was the battery and the battery was the car? What a concept. Some researchers at Chalmers University have come up with a structural battery made from carbon fibre. So what this means is you could actually reduce the weight of your car, the weight of the vehicle, by building the car out of composite fibre or carbon fibre, but that would be the battery as well. Now, the energy density of this isn't as good as a normal lithium-ion battery, say, but it means you're not having to build a car and a battery separate. It would all be built in as one. So the idea here is, how can we make the cars better? How can we make them more weight effective? How can we use this in some better way? And this is the way they're working on at the moment. We often talk about how things develop around technology and how quickly things develop. Well, what a concept this is, and we still are at the very beginning of the battery revolution. We've really only been working on batteries to be used in EVs in this sort of level for maybe the last decade. So there's a lot of development to occur yet, but this is a very exciting development, in my opinion, building the car out of the battery or building the battery out of the car. I'm not sure which way it goes.
And what about this tiny tech revolution, tiny nuclear batteries?
Nuclear batteries sound a bit scary, don't they? So when people think of nuclear, they think of nuclear power plants, they think of meltdowns. But what about if you had a tiny, tiny nuclear battery? Now, the way a nuclear power plant works is very similar to a coal-fired power station. You use nuclear devices or nuclear elements to heat up something like water, and that expands and then spins some turbines. It's the same with coal-fired power stations. They're used to heat up water. But the nuclear components themselves radiate nuclear elements, and so you could use that to generate electricity in a different way. And that's exactly what some researchers are doing, where they've taken the element americium, and it's normally nuclear waste, but it has the ability to decay over about 7,000 years. But in that decaying, it's outputting various items or various photons that then can be used to generate electricity. So they've built tiny batteries that might have a battery life of 30 or 40 years. They've got tiny nanograms of the americium at the middle of that. They've got something that resembles a photovoltaic cell around that. And as that americium decays, it actually generates electricity. It's not designed to power a car or power the grid. It's designed to power a device that might be needed to be used for decades. So, for example, if you've got a sensor in a bridge, it might need to be powering that for a long time to check out that bridge to see it's in good condition. If you've got a sensor that's going off on a space probe in a deep, deep space, you might get to the stage where the amount of sun's energy isn't enough to drive that particular device, so you want something that can keep driving it for decades. So something like this could be used as a battery that's almost a forever battery. It would go so long that people would actually consider it the device it was powering probably would wear out before the battery. There's a whole range of development happening. People get scared about the idea that you've got something that's decaying there, but again, it would be contained within something that wouldn't allow that decay to come out of that actual battery itself. So another bit of a breakthrough there, probably a few years before we have batteries like this, but it's all happening in terms of battery technology.
What about the massive AI meeting a nuclear revival at 3 Mile Island?
It's one of those ones that people get scared about, again, with nuclear energy. And 3 Mile Island is famous for a huge meltdown that occurred. And obviously people probably, I suppose, got put on the back foot by the whole concept of nuclear power with what happened at 3 Mile Island. Now, this particular nuclear reactor has been shut down for about the last 5 years. So basically it was put into mothballs and they said, that's it, we don't need that anymore, and it would take too much money to revive it. But AI is requiring huge amounts of power at the moment. And Microsoft is one company, one of many, that's needing huge amounts of energy to power all the servers that are powering AI. So they've just done a deal, a 20-year deal, to basically revive Three Mile Island's nuclear reactor, and that would be used exclusively to power Microsoft AI servers. So it would generate about 835 megawatts of power. Normally, you could use that to power about 700,000 homes. So that gives you some idea, Rod, of how much power is required by AI. So is AI making the world a better place? Well, potentially it could, but it needs a lot of power to do that. So this is the first time we've ever seen a nuclear reactor, with a power agreement for one company only. Normally that power is going into the grid, but in this case, it would be dedicated to Microsoft. So they're spending about $1.6 billion on bringing it back up to speed. Once that's done, that'll be used for, say, the next 20 years for Microsoft to power AI.
Somewhere in here we need to have a sort of a megalomaniac laugh. Someone going, oh.
And a picture of a person stroking a cat sitting on their lap.
Yes, move over 007 and all that. Now, let's just bring it back home. One of the most boring things folks think about around the house. Cleaning. Dishes done, double time.
Well, some people don't have a dishwasher, and I feel for those people because the dishwasher has revolutionised the kitchen, hasn't it? It used to be a lovely time.
I wouldn't know. I don't have one.
Well, this is the story for you then, Rod. And I actually used to enjoy looking back on it, maybe at the time, not at the time, but looking back at it now. There were 8 kids in my family growing up, and standing around the sink while someone did the dishes and someone got the job of drying, and then you'd flick your brother with your tea towel, or you'd roll it up and then flick each other, and all that sort of fun that used to happen around the sink. That doesn't happen anymore because you stack the dishwasher and away you go. But there are some places, as in yours, Rod, that don't have a dishwasher. And getting a dishwasher installed is a bit of a drama. You need to find the room for it for a start. You've got to get it plumbed in. You've got to get power for it. So many people just say, well, it's not worth the hassle. I'll just keep washing up the dishes by hand. But this new device is basically a compact dishwasher that can sit on the countertop and has a little device to take water from, plugs into a normal power point, and can do dishes with a small amount of water and a very small amount of power. It takes about 15 minutes. Only uses 2.6 litres of water. It uses about 0.17 kilowatt hours of power, and the whole job finishes your dishes in about 15 minutes. Now, not large enough to put pots and pans in like you might with a normal dishwasher, but perfect size for someone that just has their plates from maybe breakfast and dinner time, put them in there, a few plates, a few knives and forks, job done with a desktop dishwasher. So go and check it out, Rod. You might need one of these in your place.
Christmas is coming up, you know, mate.
I'll keep it in mind for you.
This is Tech Talk with Matthew Dickerson, Night Vision Nirvana.
One of the things that people often talk about, if they could have a superpower, the superpower might be night vision. It'd be pretty cool to be able to walk around at night and see what's happening out there without having any lights on. Now, we all are familiar with those night vision goggles we see in the movies. They're a big, clunky, cumbersome thing. They've got a battery pack associated with them because they need so much power to run. And of course, the bad guy always gets blinded when someone flicks on the lights, and the night vision goggles take all that light and just about blind the person. They typically work by amplifying whatever available light there is by 10,000 times, which is why someone gets blinded when someone turns the lights on. But now the University of Michigan researchers have come up with some OLED technology that you could use in normal glasses. So you could basically put them on normal glasses. They still need some power to run, but they need an incredibly small amount of power, and they'll amplify the available light by 100 times. So not the 10,000 times of the night vision goggles, but 100 times. Now, I can see this being useful for someone that wants to walk around their house at night time and not wake up their partner by turning the lights on. Even when you go walking at night, or maybe walking early in the morning, riding your push bike at night, when you've got a low light situation, putting on glasses like this would give you the ability to see much better, maybe not complete night vision, but much better. So they'd have some batteries built into the arms of the glasses that have the ability to give you better vision at night with a minimum amount of battery power. It sounds like good news all around. Again, they won't work in complete darkness. They need some photons to be able to amplify those, but it sounds like a pretty good idea.
If people would like to find out more about the Tech Talk you've spoken on and others today, where do they go?
Their favourite podcast app, whatever that might be, Rod, 9 a.m. every Monday morning, 45 minutes of this type of technology being discussed.
Matthew, thank you for your time today.
Always my pleasure.